avenues to fill the seats.
Our campaigns are rich and varied, from the first bake sale of June 1960
to the airplane banner campaign in the early 90s,
to the highly aggressive roadside mascot campaign in 2004.
Aggressive in both scope and the narrowly avoided mascot brawl between our advertisers, the dancing ice cream cone from Dairy Hut, El Burrito Grande from Toca Taco, and the homeless man from around the corner.
Now, obviously all of our campaigns haven't gone as planned, and maybe one of the most disastrous was a series of radio TV adverts produced by a grad student from Harrison University,
who, unbeknownst to us, was failing all of his classes and flunked out 3 weeks after shooting our spots.
But at the time, we didn't realize because of our upcoming performances of Break the Leg. But seriously, be careful, we have a show to do. And the rabbit-eared man who nobody loved. And the adverts were terrible.
At the time, it was a nightmare. Damage control ensued. But in hindsight, it was actually quite amusing.
So we went into our archives and pulled them out for your enjoyment.
Hello, Mr. Sampson. I really appreciate you coming out here to help with these advertisements, especially agreeing to do so without compensation.
Oh, well, it's always good to have some experience. It's just some experience to start with, I guess.
Come again?
Well, I've never really conducted an interview before.
So you mean this is your first time interviewing someone?
Well, not first. I've seen a lot of interviews, most of that in Oprah.
But you've never actually conducted one before.
Not as such, no.
Well, don't worry about that. We at Limelight have always been about helping young performers like you. I'll help make this pretty easy, and I'm sure we'll have a great time. Again, I really appreciate the generosity of doing this without pay. Of course, I guess you could say we're paying you in experience. Okay. Well, let's get started, shall we?
Right. Steve Daniela. Steve Daniela, you're the company's financial director, correct?
Yes, I am the financial director, but my name's Daniela Steve, not Steve Daniela.
But on the court date, it said Steve Daniela.
No. It said Steve, Daniela.
Right, Steve Daniela.
You've never seen names written surname first followed by the given name with a comma in between?
Surname? You've been knighted? That's so cool. Everyone wants me to know that.
No!
Oh,
No!
I have a level 15 agent.
Surname. It means last name. I'm surprised you didn't know.
I thought there was a prefix.
No, surname. Spelled S-U-R-N-A-M-E. It means last name. They're the same thing.
Oh, I knew that.
Well, it's okay. I'm sure it's just nerves first interview and all. Now, I trust you received a list of suggested topics we forwarded to the university?
Yeah, bad of you. I hope that's okay.
Certainly. After all, these are informational interviews, and if you want to know, the public probably does too. The more they know, the more they'll want to see the shows.
Right, I'll get started with the first question then. Why take money?
Excuse me?
Why take?
Take what?
The money, you crook!
Hold on a minute. I think you've made a mistake. No one has taken any money from the company, and if you look over our records, you'll find that...
Oh, I'm terribly sorry. It's just they asked that question on TV a lot, so I thought that would be a good place to start. No one's taking any money?
No!
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I had that clear.
Are you guys done yet?
Yes, so.
Yes, before I move on, I need to make an announcement. The owner of a charcoal gray Ford Taurus, license plate number 83555141. The car is parked illegally and is being towed.
Hey, wait. That's my car. I told you can't take the stage manager's car.
The year was 1872. Antebellum American South was still recovering from the ravages of war. Marilyn Monroe, the first man in space, was introducing the world to a new kind of music called rockabilly. And George Washington was busy inventing the bicycle. But today, we remember 1872 for a different kind of reason. It was a stroke of midnight on Thanksgiving that Brian Rutherford Fouth was born. Today, we know him as the founder of Limelight. His tale is a mythical journey and, like the man himself, larger than life. So much has been said and written about Fouth that at times it can be hard to separate fact from fiction. Tonight, we will try to do just that. as we explore his humble beginnings growing up high in the mountains of Mexico with a pack of wild Yetis, to his foundings of Limelight in the renegade 1960s, his continuing work as chief godfather of the company. But before that, and before Yetis, there was a stroke of midnight on 1872.
Jeez! What is this, sir? It's a boy, jeez! A boy! Oh, congratulations! But, sir, we must act quickly. You know what the prophecy says. I know, jeez. I know. Maria, bring them, now! Jeez, take these. You know the road you must take, west of the old White House. Your only hope, jeez. I will do my best, Mr. Falk. Take care of that child. Sir, what have you named him? His name is Brian. He's here! He's here, Jeeves! Maria, get the child! Get the child! Jeeves, go! You'll need this more than me now, sir. As well as I. A boy will be born on the 10th Thanksgiving. You will found a local theater company in Oswego, Illinois. You will not have him. You will never have him. On guard!
The battle that ensued between Brian's father and the evil king was the stuff of legends. Poets would write about it. Philosophers would argue about it. Even Errol Flynn himself called the battle his muse. But you wouldn't want to see something like that, would you? Would you? I mean, it's well choreographed. Come on, who wants to see it? Who wants to see it? Let's go.
Wait. Is that a tuna fish sandwich over there?
Simply paralyzed. Mr. and Mrs. Falk had this one chance to get little Brian to safety. They knew he wouldn't be safe living with them, so they sent the midwife, Maria, to take him to the only safe haven they knew. A pack of wild Yetis living high in the mountains. With me now is Berlin Kettle, one of the most notable Faulian scholars. Mr. Kettle, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great.
Now, tell us what happened after the famous Thanksgiving fight. What happened?
Well, we know that Maria, when she took the child, she did take Brian to safety. Now, if you look behind me right here,
Yes.
you will see a painting called Yeti Crossing by Paul Cézanne.
Wow!
Breathtaking, really. I have to tell you, this is one of the most famous depictions of Maria's journey. You know, the original of this still hangs in the Louvre. One thing I do want to...
It's so realistic.
Look at the point of hair at the top of the Yeti. Perfectly drawn to scale. Amazing.
They're that size.
Exactly. They are that big.
That's ridiculous. Now, take us through the following years of Faust's childhood and...
Yes, by all accounts, the Yetis were the perfect caretakers. Loving, but stern with firm boundaries. I have read a few manuscripts that depict the first years as being tough, perhaps some inter-Yeti politics about raising a human child. However, it really seems they all fell in love with him very quickly.
Clearly.
In fact, even when you mention the name Faust in a Yeti tribe today, it is revered.
Interesting. Well, that's very, very, very interesting.
It's so interesting.
But he didn't live there his entire childhood, is that true?
No, he did not. He only stayed with the Yetis for the first 5 years of his life.
So he was 5.
He was 5 years old. This is why Faust himself has so few memories of his furry den mothers.
Yes.
However, many believe we can see the Yeti's influence in some of Faust's behaviors, mainly his propensity to club potential romantic partners.
Well, thank you, Mr. Berlin Kettle. Now, take us through. He didn't live there his entire childhood.
No, he did not. Can you get to the next part, please?
Yes, I will.
We have one more thing to do.
I remember.
Yes.
And he didn't live there his entire childhood.
The Crowbirds. Yes. When Faust was given from the Yetis to a human family living in the United States, he was given to the Crowbirds.
Well,
And they lived in Washington, the American Northwest. It's Washington now, however. It wouldn't be a state for 12 more years at the time. It was in 1877.
very true.
Uh-huh.
Thank you, Mr. Kettle.
Yes, my pleasure.
I'd like to play a short video clip of the last interview the Crowbirds ever gave. This took place in 1937, about 24 years before the founding of Limelight.
Mr. Mr. and Mrs. Kroger, thank you for joining me this evening. We are approaching the 60th anniversary of Ryan Fowle's entrance into your household. Tell me, what was he like as a child?
Well, he was darn sweet, wasn't he, Sham?
Like a cherry tart, he was.
He had so much energy, always getting into something.
Uh-huh. Tell me, what were his hobbies as a child?
Well, he loved space. He loved pretending he could fly up there amongst the stars. I guess he'll become one himself, so they tell me.
He also loved fire and magic.
Uh-huh. Beatrice, you mentioned Brian becoming a star. In that case, what do you say to the fact that he has not yet founded a children's theater group in Oswego, Illinois? He has yet to fulfill the prophecy.
Well, Champ and I are both certain he will, even if we don't live long enough to see it. But our goal was never to see him fulfill his destiny. Our goal was to raise a boy with good family values and a sense of right and wrong.
In that case, what do you say to the fact that he has self-exiled himself with a group of military defects on an island in the Philippines?
Well, we feel like failures.
An island in the Philippines. This point from 1935 to 1960 is known as the Dark Years. Very little is known about Fowle's whereabouts, actions, or allegiances at this time, though the few people who saw him or spent time with him tell vivid stories, his shimmering specks of light cutting through a period of darkness.
I saw him thumb wrestle a bear once for 6 straight hours. Bear's name was the Jackal King.
He absolutely refused to use the letter H for a period of 7 years.
He played a munchkin in The Wizard of Oz.
He would shave his face by rubbing it on the bark of a tree.
The original recipe for Coca-Cola contained 5 of his teeth, which he lost in a poker game. They promptly grew back.
I once saw him riding through the forest on the back of a gorgeous elk.
Every 4 years on the leap year, February 29th, he would purchase and eat an entire pumpkin.
And so the legend grew until 1960, where he appeared from nowhere and founded the company we know today as Limelight. The rest of the story is the end game. Fame, fortune, wild success. It's all well documented. But I believe if we understand his turbulent beginnings, we can better understand these past 50 years. I end with an anecdote. Every year on his birthday, Thanksgiving, Brian makes a trip to the Kennedy Space Center on his birthday. That last vestige of that childhood dream to become an astronaut. The commander walks over to him and rubs his tuft of hair, you know. And like the doting Beatrice Kroger and say, "You're a star. Kid, you're a star." Thank you very much.